Welcome to Audit Archive, where we run you through some of the most questionable and rather atrocious police encounters. Today, we're looking at a case where police officers barged into the wrong house with weapons drawn and then caused the unfortunate death of a dog by shooting it. On June 3, 2023, the Waco Police Department received a 911 call from a female subject who reported that a man had broken into her residence by kicking the door open. The dispatcher reportedly heard a male in the background saying, "I'm not trying to hurt you," and the call was then disconnected. However, during the brief 911 call, the female subject also provided dispatch with her address, and this address plays a big role in this incident, as you will soon find out. The following audio recording is the entire conversation between the female subject and the dispatcher during the 911 call.
911, do you need police, fire, EMS? Waco 911.
Somebody just kicked my door in.
What's your address?
I'm at 30 H Street.
I'm not trying to hit you.
I will be out of your home. Please come out.
I'm coming. I got officers on the way, okay?
Now, even though the address provided by the female subject was redacted from this audio by the Waco Police Department in order to maintain privacy, it was later made public by the department's spokeswoman, Sierra Shipley, who said that when dispatchers entered the address into their system, the address auto-corrected from 3204N 20th A Street to 3204N 20th Street. It goes without saying that even the tiniest mistake in an address could easily direct a person to the wrong house. And this is exactly what happened here. The absence of a mirror letter meant that two Waco police officers were now en route to the wrong address, essentially responding to a burglary in progress, but unfortunately, not at the correct location. Both officers were simply provided with the wrong address, and they responded on high alert, ready for the worst. Let's review the body cam footage from both responding officers when they initially arrived at the wrong address and subsequently sneaked their way onto the mistaken property.
Okay. Hey, day code, back door is open. Back door is like cracked open. Is there a way to just walk around there? No, you can't.
As seen in the footage, Officer 1 and Officer 2 both surrounded the property and tried to find a way to enter without raising an alarm. This is a normal practice for law enforcement officers during a burglary in progress call, as they will typically try to approach the scene with caution to avoid alerting any suspects who may be inside. We can also see that the officers had their weapons drawn, and might wonder whether they were justified in doing so. Well, Section 9.51A of the Texas Penal Code provides that a peace officer is justified in using force against another when and to the degree the actor reasonably believes the force is immediately necessary to make or assist in making an arrest. Taking this into account, since drawing a weapon is in fact considered a use of force, both officers had the right to do so because of the dangerous nature of the report and the likeliness of an arrest being made. Another point worth noting is that Officer 1 apparently noticed that the back door of the house was cracked open. Remember that the female caller who reported the incident had not specified which door was broken into, so this was Officer 1's assumption based on what he allegedly saw. But regardless, both officers then decided to jump the fence and step foot onto the private property.
You want to jump in a whole cover and you hold it and leapfrog over? Yeah.
This is an appropriate time to discuss whether the officers had the legal right to essentially breach private property without a warrant. The Fourth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution states that the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Now, even though it may appear as if the U.S. Supreme Court has established that warrantless searches and seizures are generally considered unreasonable, it's not without several exceptions. Under the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 14.05, it stated that an officer making an arrest without a warrant may not enter a residence to make the arrest unless a person who resides in the residence consents to the entry, or exigent circumstances require that the officer making the arrest enter the residence without the consent of a resident or without a warrant. Sometimes, government lawyers, as well as law enforcement, will refer to exigent circumstances as the emergency doctrine. But although neither Congress nor the Texas legislature has passed legislation that defines exactly what both these terms mean, it's generally understood that they refer to situations that require immediate action to prevent harm or to protect the public interest. A few examples are when someone is in imminent danger of being hurt or killed, when evidence is in imminent danger of being destroyed, or while stopping a fleeing suspect. Judging by these examples, we can conclude that there was indeed an alleged exigent circumstance, or at least that's what the officers assumed as incorrectly directed by the dispatchers. But this is where the incident takes a turn for the worse. We will now look at Officer 2's body cam footage to analyze his point of view of the events that followed.
Wake up, police department! Hey, back up. Easy, puppy. Back up. Back up. Thanks for deploying, dog. Hey, the dog's back here. Easy, puppy. Easy, puppy.
As we've just seen, upon approaching the back door and after Officer 1 peeked inside, several dogs came running out at both officers while barking at them. Officer 2, as seen through his body cam, immediately switched from his duty pistol to his taser, presumably to protect himself from being attacked by the dogs. 1 second later, he deployed his taser at one of the dogs, which prompted them to disperse before bunching around the officer once again, but in a non-aggressive manner. The American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, otherwise known as the ASPCA, has released position statements on law enforcement response to potentially dangerous dogs. In the document, they've highlighted that police rarely receive any training that would allow them to rapidly and realistically assess the degree of danger posed by a dog. Nor are they routinely informed about or trained to use any of the wide variety of non-lethal tools and techniques available to them as alternatives to shooting. However, it appears that Officer 2 made the right conscious decision to switch to a non-lethal weapon just in time to eradicate a potential threat from the dogs. But amidst the ordeal between Officer 2 and the dogs, we completely missed out on a loud bang heard from Officer 1's direction. It appears that even Officer 2 failed to hear the explosive sound, since it occurred at the same time as his taser deployment. Let's watch Officer 1's body cam footage to figure out what happened at his end.
Wake up, police department. Hey, back up. Easy, puppy. Back up. Back up. Thanks for deploying, dog. Hey, the dog's back here. Easy, puppy. Easy, puppy.
As seen in the footage, Officer 1 basically acted inversely with Officer 2. While Officer 2 switched to a non-lethal weapon, Officer 1 failed to do so and continued to aim his primary firearm at one of the dogs that approached him. 1 second later, the dog was shot, and Officer 1 failed to announce to dispatch that shots were fired. He remained silent about the matter and didn't even tell his fellow officer about it either. Now, some may argue that Officer 1's use of deadly force against the dog was justified. This argument usually stems from what they perceive as a threat to the officer's safety or the safety of others. In the 1985 case of Tennessee v. Garner, it was held that the use of force by law enforcement officers must be objectively reasonable under the given circumstances, and that deadly force may only be used when necessary to prevent an imminent threat of harm. In this specific case, it can be confidently said that if Officer 1 had employed the same tactics as his fellow officer, a taser would have been more than sufficient to subdue the possible threat posed by the dog. This would essentially deem it unnecessary to shoot the dog. If we go back to the position statements published by the ASPCA, they've also stated that their review of public records of firearms discharges by police indicates that it is common for 50% or more of all shooting incidents to involve an officer shooting a dog. Adding that, policies that require only that an officer feel threatened set a very low threshold for justifying the killing of dogs. All in all, Officer 1's use of deadly force was arguably unjustified. Despite this, watch how Officer 1 acted as if nothing serious had happened. He casually spoke to the dog's owner, who came running out of the house and initially failed to inform her that he had shot one of her dogs. Even Officer 2 was visibly confused and left in disbelief when Officer 1 told him that he fired a shot. To make matters even worse, he still had not given a shots fired announcement to dispatch, which was overall a very negligent attitude.
Easy. Yeah, I hit that. I'm sorry. I hit. We got a call that somebody's broken. Yeah, and the dog just came after me.
I'm gonna sleep. My dogs are fine. They're really nice.
Okay.
We'll
call them in and we'll get around.
Please come.
Go ahead.
We're 10-4 in the backyard for now. Taser deployed on
Yeah.
it.
Well, we got a call that somebody was breaking in and it was just unknown. So that's why we were back here. The door's wide open and it don't look good in our situation. That's why we're here. And the dog charged me, so I shot it. The black one. I don't know where.
You shot my dog?
The black one.
Gun?
Yeah, it's still over there.
The black dog's over here
Okay.
Shot my dog with the gun?
with a taser.
Huh?
Taser.
Who? No, I shot it, bro.
You shot him?
I shot it. Is it? Hey, can we?
Oh my god.
Supervisor coming?
Yeah.
All right. We got a supervisor coming, ma'am.
What?
I said we got a supervisor coming. I'm sorry, but
Hey, did you say you shot on the radio?
nah. Hey, 2150s. We need a supervisor here. I shot a dog.
Less than 3 minutes later, a Waco Police Department commander arrived at the residence while the dog's owner prepared to transport her injured, yet alive dog to an emergency animal clinic.
We get here caught out in the back door, and like 6 dogs ran out of us, and I shot one of them like in the
And from
back.
call notes, this is our original call, and then they corrected to 28.
Yeah, the dog. Well, as far as I know, the dog's alive. It was
Start
in the
looking
house.
around.
So
I go one side, Mo
that's
goes
why we
the
were
other. He
calling
sees
for
open
y'all.
back door. We go to the back door, kind of pie around. He knocks in the
Yeah,
house
yeah.
on the back
The
door.
owner's here. The owner's here. She brought the dog in the
5 or
house.
6 dogs charge out the back. I had just switched to taser when I heard the dog. I wind up popping one with a taser. He winds up popping one with a pistol. He still had his hand.
Okay. Yeah, I just got off the phone. She said you can take it to an emergency clinic real quick. Yeah. You don't bite me.
I got
Yeah, she's gonna take it to the emergency clinic. Okay. Okay. Alright. Bye. Bye bye. Yeah, they're not coming out for that. The owner got to take it. Yeah.
Thank you.
The owners of the dog, namely Finn, are Cassie Page and her boyfriend Matt Vasquez. Miss Page told a local news outlet that she was taking a nap inside her home when she heard her 5 dogs barking in the backyard. It was also reported that the Waco police commander met the family at the clinic, offered his sympathy, and provided information regarding services provided as a result of the incident. The same day, Miss Page and Mr. Vasquez made the tough decision to pull Finn off of his breathing tubes. Following the incident, the couple stated that they would regularly keep their back door open so their 5 dogs could move freely between the house and their fenced backyard. Then, on June 16, 2023, almost 2 weeks after the incident, the Waco Police Department posted online that they had been saddened by the unfortunate shooting. As of the date of this recording, the couple has retained Dallas attorney Bradrick Collins in order to pursue legal action against the department. Collins called the video heartbreaking and said he will be reaching out to the police department to attempt to make his clients whole. Meanwhile, Waco Police spokeswoman Sarah Shipley declined to comment on whether the involved officers would face disciplinary action. On a final note, a GoFundMe campaign is currently active in order to collect funds that will cover the legal fees while fighting for justice. Be sure to check out our previous video, where we cover another outrageous police encounter.